What's going on, everyone? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a Void Warlock build here revolving around the exotic Nezarec's Sin. Nezarec's Sin's perk reads as follows: Abyssal Extractors. Void damage kills increase ability energy recharge rate. All you got to do is get kills with void damage and your abilities are going to recharge a lot faster. This build is super simple, it is a lot of fun, and you're going to be constantly spamming your abilities. A constant theme with these builds. Before we get into the build here though, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new here. I appreciate each and every one of you who stopped by the video and give this a little watch. Without further ado though, let's get into the build. Starting off here with the Super Nova Bomb, the Slova Bomb. This one is perfect as you're going to be putting out a lot of damage with this one. However, you could use the other Nova Bomb if you want. However, this is just the one I prefer. For your Rift here, Healing Rift. You could use Emp Rift if you want. I prefer Healing Rift. It is a personal preference with this one, as it is with the movement ability. I prefer Burst Glide. I know people like Blink on Void Lock. There are any of these movement abilities that will work for you. For our nade here, we're going to be running the Vortex Nade, as this is probably one of the best, if not the best, Void Nade for PvE activities. Moving on to our aspects here, what we're going to be starting off with is Feed the Void. Defeating a target with a Void ability will activate Devour, and then while Devour is active, Final Blows will restore health and extend Devour. This is exactly what we want, as we're going to be constantly getting Void ability kills anyways, so we're going to be proccing Devour. We're going to be consistently healing with Devour procced. The next one here is Child of the Old Gods. Cast your Rift and you create a Void Soul. When you damage a target with a weapon, your Void Soul will fly to them and drain them, doing damage and weakening them. And then while a target is being drained, you are granted grenade and melee energy if you are running a Healing Rift. And then defeating a target who is being drained by your Void Soul will grant you class ability energy. This is perfect for giving us the ability to constantly have our abilities up, which is just what this build revolves around. Moving on to the fragments here, what we're going to be starting with is Echo of Instability. As you defeat targets with your grenade, you will be granted volatile rounds to your weapons. Volatile rounds is a phenomenal add clear ability, and it is a lot of fun to use as well. And since we're going to be constantly using our grenades, volatile rounds is going to be something we're going to have up quite a bit with this build. Next on the list here is Echo of Undermining. Your Void Grenades will weaken targets. This is another one that just synergizes really well, as we're going to be consistently weakening enemies with our grenades if they are not already being weakened by our Child of the Old Gods. The minus 22 Discipline does hit a little hard, but because we're using Nezarec's Sin and the way this entire build works, it's not going to be too much of a big deal, as we're going to be getting our ability regen quite a bit faster anyways. Next up is Echo of Remnants. Your lingering grenade effects will last longer. Therefore, our Vortex Nade is going to last longer, weakening enemies for a longer period of time, as well as giving us more damage. And then lastly is Echo of Expulsion. Void ability Final Blows cause targets to explode. So if we kill an enemy with our Vortex Nade, they're going to explode. If we kill an enemy with our Pocket Singularity, they're going to explode. This overall just allows us to have a lot of explosions going on, pairing it with volatile rounds. Everything is going to be exploding due to the volatile rounds, as well as this fragment. Now, if we move on over here to the weapons in the kinetic slot here, you could run something like Witherhoard if you want, or if you're running a special weapon in the energy slot, you could run something like an Osmosis SMG, like Escape Velocity, for example. Anytime you throw a nade with Osmosis, you're going to turn that weapon into a Void weapon, which will allow Escape Velocity to take advantage of volatile rounds. Now, if you want to run something like a auto rifle like Reckless Oracle from the Garden of Salvation raid, or something like Funnel Web, which is an absolute staple to Void builds, this will benefit greatly from volatile rounds. You're going to be making everything explode with these weapons. One thing to note, if you want to use something like a Waveframe GL such as Dead Messenger, your Void shots will actually get volatile rounds, so your volatile shots will make enemies explode with Dead Messenger and other Waveframes. For the heavy here, you could run something like the Taipan if you want to do a lot of damage in a boss fight, or if you want to just kill enemies really fast. You could also run something like a Corrective Measure to have a ton of explosions, pairing it with Firefly. Or you could run a sword if you want to move fast, and if you hit enemies with volatile rounds with this sword, they will explode. Now, moving on to the mods on our armor here. Starting off on the helmet, we're going to be running Reaping Wellmaker. What Reaping Wellmaker does is anytime you activate your class ability, so if you pop a rift, your next final blow with any weapon on a combatant will spawn a Void Elemental Well. Next up on the list here is Elemental Armaments, so getting a kill with a Void weapon will give you a chance to spawn a Void Elemental Well. We're going to be spawning quite a bit of Elemental Wells with this build because that pairs in nicely with a mod that is going to be on our armor. And that mod is Well of Tenacity. Well of Tenacity allows you to take less damage from combatants from a short period of time when you pick up a Void Elemental Well. So the more Void Elemental Wells we produce, we're going to be getting resist times 3 from this mod. So we're going to be having even more abilities to stay alive. On our boots here, we got Elemental Ordnance to again create more of those Void Elemental Wells. So we can pair that with Well of Tenacity to get that 3 times resist. And then lastly, on our bond here, we're going to have Font of Might. What Font of Might does is it gives you an increase to your weapon damage that matches your subclass type. So that is why we're going to be running a lot of Void weapons, because Font of Might procs more damage on those Void weapons. So if you're running something like the Typhon in a boss fight and you have Font of Might proc, you're going to be doing more damage with that weapon. Overall, this build synergizes perfectly with just the amount of explosions you can make with Void and the amount of ability spam you can get due to Nezarec's Sin and getting all of these Void damage kills. So throwing nades, Pocket Singularity, Reckless Oracle if you're using that auto rifle in your energy slot, or any Void weapon in any of your slots. If you guys enjoyed this build, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment down below if you're going to try this build out yourself, or if you know a similar build, or if this is the exact build you are already using. I appreciate you making it to the end of the video. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you in the next video. Peace.